What is up, amigos? Hope you're doing awesome. What is fear? Is it the darkness in the room or the silence that follows after your child cries out and you find her gone? Chorii never relied on jump scares or loud music. It scared us with the truth that sometimes the most terrifying horror doesn't come from ghosts, but from our own society, from the traditions that we follow blindly, from the power we give to men who hide evil behind the mask of rituals, and from the silence that follows the cries of girls, unborn, unprotected, and unheard. When Chorii 1 came out in 2021, it felt like a punch to the gut, a slow burn horror that wrapped its terrifying story around the spine of one of the darkest evils in Indian society, female infanticide. And now, Chorii 2 picks up, runs deeper into the woods, literally and metaphorically, showing us that when we think the evil is dead, sometimes it's only underground, growing. And this time, it's not just about surviving, it's about saving your child, about facing the past that refuses to die, and about confronting the darkness that still exists in places we pretend to forget. Let's dive into Chorii 2, not just as a horror film, but as a reflection of our social failures and a mother's courage. Let's do a bit of recap first in case you missed the first film or need a quick refresher. Chorii 1 was the story of Sakshi, a pregnant woman who ends up in a remote village trying to escape danger. But what she doesn't know is that she's walked into a land haunted by the ghosts of baby girls and the spirit of Sunani, a woman who was killed for refusing to abort her child. What follows is a harrowing journey through hallucinations, horrifying secrets, and eventually the brutal truth that her own husband Rajbir is part of the family that sacrificed children in the name of tradition. By the end of Chorii 1, Sakshi manages to escape, bruised, battered, but alive with a vow to protect the child she carries. Cut to Chorii 2, and that child is now 7 years old. Now coming to Chorii 2, 7 years have passed. Sakshi lives a quiet life with her daughter Ishani, a bright child who suffers from a rare condition that makes sunlight deadly to her. Along with them is Samar, a police officer who believes Sakshi's past, and Rani, the survivor from part 1, who has become a maternal figure to Ishani. But peace never lasts long in horror stories. One night, Ishani is abducted, Rani goes missing too, and Sakshi finds herself pulled back to the same cursed village, that same sugarcane fields, but this time the horror is no longer in whispers. It's a full-blown cult operating underground, a maze of tunnels, dead brides, ghost children, and at the center of it all, a dying patriarch named Pradhanji who believes sacrificing Ishani will restore his life. Sakshi is trapped, her daughter is held hostage, and aiding the cult is a terrifying new figure, Dasima, played by Soha Ali Khan, a high priestess or servant being the literal meaning of Dasi, who is as much a ghost as she is human. As the clock ticks, Sakshi has to navigate through horror, trauma, and betrayal once again, but this time it's not about saving herself, it's about fighting an entire system to protect the only good thing left in her life, her daughter Ishani. So let's talk about the performances, about Nushrratt Bharuccha first. Honestly, this film would fall apart without her. She is the emotional anchor of the story. From her quiet moments of fear to her fierce outbursts of rage, you believe her as a mother, not because she's crying, but because you see her holding back the tears while she fights. Her performance isn't theatrical, it's personal. Then comes Soha Ali Khan in a role that completely reinvents her image. As Dasima, she's haunting. She doesn't scream to scare you, she whispers. She glides instead of walking, and her presence adds a layer of real dread to the film. What's most chilling is how Dasima behaves almost like a twisted mother figure to Ishani, feeding her, calming her, as if she believes what she's doing is right. That's what makes her scary. Now, Kashmir Mahajani as Samar brings a calming presence, a rare male ally in a world dominated by patriarchal evil. And little Hardika Sharma as Ishani, what a find. Her quiet fear is so believable, it breaks you in places. The rest of the supporting cast, especially Rajbir's return, adds to the tension. And while not all characters are equally fleshed out, the atmosphere they create is genuinely unsettling. Director Vishal Furia continues what he started in Chorii, using horror as a lens to show social horror. But this time, the scale is bigger. The tunnels beneath the village are brilliantly crafted, claustrophobic, disturbing, and the cinematography complements it it all with tight frames, dim lighting, and clever use of shadows. One of the standout visual elements is the contrast between light and darkness, especially considering Ishani's condition. Her inability to be in sunlight adds a metaphorical layer, a girl who has to hide from the world because society made it unsafe for her to simply exist. The background score is also spot on. No over-the-top jump scares, just the right use of silence, whispers, and eerie lullabies that unsettle you without trying too hard. Yes, the CGI falters in some places, some supernatural effects don't land the way they should, but the production design and atmosphere makes up for it. But coming to the theme of the film again, this is where Chorii 2 truly earns its place. The horror isn't just ghosts, it's the horrifying reality of child marriage, of blind superstition, of how even women become pawns of patriarchy when they're raised to believe they're worthless unless serving men. The cult in this film doesn't scare you just because of their rituals. They scare you because they believe what they're doing is good. That's the real evil, not a demon in the dark, but a society that refuses to change. Dasima is not just a villain, she's a tragic product of a system that turned her into a monster. And Sakshi, she's every mother who fights against that system to protect her child's right to live freely. And then there's the deeper layer, the idea of trauma being generational. That Sakshi might escape the village, but the trauma she carries follows her. The past is never truly buried, especially when it was never fully punished according to the society. Now let's be honest, Chorii 2 is not perfect. The screenplay could have been tighter, some scenes drag, and the third act feels rushed. The underground cult visuals are effective but repetitive. The VFX, especially in Dasima's transitions, is underwhelming, and sometimes the message overshadows the horror. Also, the film ends with a subtle tease for a part 3 maybe, which felt slightly forced, as if the makers were more focused on building a franchise rather than completing this chapter. But despite all that, Chorii 2 never loses its emotional core. That's its biggest win. So what makes Chorii 2 work isn't the scares, it's the fact that it reminds us what we should really be afraid of. Not ghosts in the dark, but ideas that survive across generations. The idea that girls are dispensable, that rituals justify cruelty, that motherhood is only respected when it fits the patriarchy's definition. Sakshi's fight isn't just against a cult, it's against a belief system that's very much alive in parts of our country. And through her story, Chorii 2 tells us that horror is not just a genre, it's a mirror. So if you're looking for pure horror, you might find this film slower than expected, but if you want a horror film with a purpose that tries, even if imperfectly, to say something important, Chorii 2 is worth your time. If you've seen Chorii 2, do let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Did it scare you? Did it make you think? Or did it miss the mark? And if you haven't seen it yet, it's streaming now on Amazon Prime Video. Go and watch it and then come back again. Subscribe to the channel for more such detailed reviews, hidden meanings, and social lenses on cinema, because sometimes films aren't just for watching, they are for waking us up. Thank you for watching today, and bye-bye.